Out of action for months. How safe are Taiwan's metro lines when disaster strikes? Empty classrooms and no end in sight for Taiwan's population crisis.
Here in the northwest Philippines, the hometown of the country's president is finding itself at the center of large-scale US-Philippine military drills.
Plus, southern Taiwan gets ready for the return of a historic train line. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yi Kavat. Repairs to the newest line in Taipei's metro system are set to cost upwards of $12 million. Many parts of the city's unfinished circular line were damaged by last month's massive earthquake, and it's raising questions about infrastructure resilience in the capital. Sally Jensen has more.
Waiting for the bus. Commuters on the outskirts of Taiwan's capital, Taipei, are having to find alternative transport to get from A to B, as their usual metro line is not running after a huge earthquake damaged it in April.
上班的族群他们会觉得比较麻烦，因为上班时间人潮比较多。那我大概都这个时候，我觉得离峰还好，对，人潮不是很多。
捷运的速度跟公车速度差不多，对，所以是还好，因为是短距离的。
Last month, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck Taiwan's east coast, causing damage so widespread it reached New Taipei City 160 kilometers away, damaging the city's newest line, known as the Circular or Yellow Line, which is still under construction. Passengers on the route escaped unharmed, and some sections reopened within days of the quake. But on others, some stations remain completely closed. The city government says due to the extent of the damage sustained, repairs on the 4-kilometer section between Banqiao and Zhonghe stations could take over a year and an additional $12.3 million before it can be fully operational.
新北市面对环状线，因为在短时间不可能立即恢复通车，我们必须在修完以后测试安全的意义。
But some city councillors are now questioning the line's design, as it's supposed to be able to withstand even stronger tremors. It's raised questions about the resilience of Taipei's transit system in the face of natural disasters. But transport experts say the city's transit infrastructure conforms with strict government codes.
I personally believe that's not because of poor construction or design, because design is already follow the government standards. I expect in the future that the design protocol or standards maybe should be modified to higher magnitude of earthquake.
While awaiting repairs, commuters who normally rely on this line are being offered a free replacement bus service. But with earthquakes and typhoons common here, many will want further reassurance that the rest of the circular line is built with safety as a priority. Easton Chen and Sally Jensen in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
Authorities are still looking for a German academic who went missing in eastern Taiwan just days before a 7.2 magnitude earthquake hit the region. Ralph Klausnitzer was in Taiwan to speak at a university in Taipei. He then headed to Hualien County by bus. He was last seen near Taroko National Park on March 26th, and his family lost contact with him on March 29th. GPS data from his devices suggest he was in the park when the April 3rd earthquake devastated the area, killing 18 people and injuring more than 1,000. Taiwan's schools are facing a crisis, not enough students. And as Maddie Anstruther reports, it's vocational schools outside bustling cities that are being hit the hardest.
In classrooms like this one across Taiwan, there are fewer and fewer students to teach. The Education Ministry released statistics showing the number of students enrolled in school has dropped by almost 300,000 over the past 5 years, with high school enrolment falling by 20%. But not all high schools are being equally affected. It's vocational schools, particularly those in rural areas, that are the most impacted.
是职业类科要非常的用力来跟家长来做说明的这件事情，真的困难。
The new statistics reveal that despite drops in overall student numbers, more students are choosing academic high schools over vocational ones. School staff say it doesn't support everyone's educational needs.
我们这边是人数不足的招生人数不足的区域，所有的学生他如果都要训练普高，他都可以进得去。里面有5A 的学生哦，但是也有5C 的学生。
As for how to solve the problem, the government is facing some tough questions. The country has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, vying with South Korea annually for the top spot. One solution could be to allow for smaller class sizes in rural schools.
偏向的做法就是上限要调降，现在他们不肯调降的理由，我可以上建中或北一女的人数会变少嘛？如果我往下每一班调降1个或2个，他怕这样会引起反弹。
Already this year, 13 private and vocational schools were flagged at risk of closure due to low student numbers. But in 5 more years' time, many teachers may well be wondering just how many students will be left in these classrooms. Dolphine Chen and Marianne Strother for TaiwanPlus.
A major power outage hit the northern city of Taoyuan on Tuesday, just after Taiwan Power Company announced new inspection and support plans there.
69 kV 的输电线，那它是遭民间的升空车碰触，造成整个线路的断裂，停了大概11545户，那在14点22分全数复电。
Though this case may have been an accident, Taoyuan has seen as many as 20 power outages in the past 2 weeks. It's raised concerns about the stability of the electricity supply. Taipower says its plan will deploy technicians from neighbouring districts to inspect lines and equipment in the city. 7 Taiwanese nationals are being prosecuted for their role in a cross-border document forging ring. Investigators uncovered the ring at the end of last year. They say the suspects used official Taiwanese seals and documents to manufacture fake IDs in China. These were then sold in Taiwan and used to create fake accounts on ride-sharing apps, which were sold for a profit. Authorities warn that the forgeries could be used by undocumented migrants or to defraud Taiwan's government. Taiwan's military is gearing up to perform a range of honours at the upcoming presidential inauguration. For the latest rehearsal, soldiers in New Taipei wheeled out the big guns. Jaime Ocon was there.
With less than 2 weeks to go until President-elect Lai Ching-te takes office on May 20th, soldiers at this army base in New Taipei City are rehearsing one of the oldest military traditions, the 21-gun salute. This ceremony, which has been around since the 14th century, is the highest military honors a country can give. It's usually performed to pay tribute to foreign leaders, the national flag, or the president. The military here is letting the media get a preview of the ceremony, and the leader of the event says the hardest part is the pressure of representing her country.
我们在军礼勤务上，我们会因为我们代表国家的门面，所以在训练上我会更加苛刻，跟以更高姿态的标准来训练。 我觉得最难的是，我必须要很专注的投入在其中，因为我必须要掌握场上所有突发的状况。
The exercises on display today are just to rehearse the movements and don't use real ammunition. Part of the drills also incorporate thick jackets to practice staying focused even in hot temperatures. After all the steps have been memorized, the military will then incorporate the cannons, which will be in sync with the beat of the drum during the national anthem. Taiwan's military only has one chance to perform this highest of military honors for President-elect Lai Ching-te, and it's hoping that in the next 2 weeks it can get all the steps right to demonstrate its discipline. Devin Tsai and Jaime Ocon in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
The Philippines is conducting large-scale live-fire drills with the US off its northern coast, just 500 kilometers from Taiwan. As Rick Laut reports, it's put a community in an awkward position as Beijing and Washington vie for power in this sensitive region.
It's been an uneasy wait onshore for Rodolfo Liberato Jr. The 53-year-old fisherman hasn't been able to go out to sea this week. It's too dangerous, with the US and Philippine military conducting live fire drills in these waters near his home in Lawag in northwest Philippines. He's missing out on vital income, and the gunfire and explosions unnerve him. But Liberato supports these exercises.
Kasi sabi nila kasi yung mga China din gusto nilang angkinin yung Pilipinas. Pero ayaw naman yung mga dito sa bansa natin. Kaya ginagawa nila baka ganun din ang mayroon balikatan ang ginagawa nila parang may pangdepensa nila mga maraming silang ano.
More than 5,000 troops from the US and the Philippines are practicing how they would repel an invasion here, part of annual war games between the two defence partners known as Balikatan. This year, the massive exercises focus on potential flashpoints with China, in the South China Sea, where Beijing and Manila have overlapping territorial claims, and here in the country's north. This coastline is just a few hundred kilometres from Taiwan, a country that, like the Philippines, has its sovereignty threatened by an increasingly belligerent China. But this area is also the hometown of Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., whose foreign policy is now becoming defined by standing up to China. To counter China, Marcos has brought his country closer to Washington, getting help from the US to modernise the military and giving US forces more access to the Philippines. But even here in the Marcos heartlands, it's a controversial move. China openly resents the US military operating in what it sees as its backyard, and some here worry Balikatan drills will make this area a target.
The Philippines are still the one who are facing the opponent. The US is always provoking, and the Filipino will face all the consequences.
Home to 100,000 people, Lawag sits among windswept sand dunes between the sea and the mountains. Global warming is making it increasingly hard to make a living from farming here, and the city is trying to boost tourism. It once welcomed thousands of Chinese visitors each year, and Lawag even twinned with a Chinese city. It's a relationship that has now gone sour.
The whole problem is that when you're a big political power, you tend to take advantage of those that are less powerful than you. Okay, and that's what China's doing. Okay, and this is why we have no recourse but to reach out to our allies.
Lawag fishers worry that the shells fired into the sea from these US howitzers will have scared away fishing stocks for months to come. They are keen to get back to their way of life living off the ocean. But here, one of the closest places to China that US forces have access to, is only likely to become more tumultuous as China, the US and its regional allies become more assertive in their bid for influence in this sensitive region. Alex Chen and Rick Lowett in Lawag City for TaiwanPlus.
Stay tuned to TaiwanPlus News. Coming up after the break, Taichung searches for a solution as bike accidents soar.
There's so many things that I wish the world could see.
It is amazing to watch this captain maneuver this giant ship.
It takes 3 days to cook this. The flavor is unbelievable, incredible.
And it's my turn to make something inspired by Chef Gore. It's going to be quite a challenge.
Can you imagine that?
It's surreal. Yes, so real.
I can't give up. I got some ass kicking to do.
Nice move. We're pushing each other to explore and experiment in new, different ways.
5, 4, 3, 2.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
Not just to Taiwan, the whole world is watching.
We might encounter mishaps and mistakes along the way. But at the end of the day,
It just transmits something straight from the heart. Yes. Cheers. Bon appetit. It is about the fun, and it's about the glamour, and it's also about something much deeper than that.
Sometimes you just gotta seize the opportunity. You just gotta do it.
Have a place where you're appreciated for you exactly as you are, and where you can shine and be seen.
Thanks for watching Taiwan Plus. For more stories from the Pacific Island nation of Tuvalu and around the world, follow Taiwan Plus on social media.
We bring you stories from Taiwan every day of the week.
Our reporters travel the nation.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
News from here in Taiwan and around the world.
What's up, Taiwan? On TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. Shoppers in Taiwan can breathe a sigh of relief after inflation in April reached a seasonally adjusted 9-month low. Taiwan's consumer price index grew 1.95% last month compared to April last year. That's despite recent hikes in electricity prices of around 11% and higher prices for eating out and rents. However, prices on important daily goods decreased for the first time in 4 years. Taiwan Statistics Office says it may take some more time to see the full impact of the electricity fee raises and will continue to monitor inflation closely over the next several months. The central city of Taichung now leads the country in severe bicycle accidents. The data has road safety advocates calling for some important changes. John Van Trieste has this story.
Taiwan's central city Taichung has an extensive network of public bike stations, but cycling here can be dangerous. Last year, the city, with a population roughly that of Chicago, saw close to 3,500 cycling accidents ending in injury. There were also 22 cycling deaths. The number of accidents last year was more than double the number in Taipei. Some of the city cyclists aren't surprised.
会很害怕，对啊，所以有时候会不小心骑去人行道上面，因为就是怕跟摩托车会太靠近。
自己的小孩的话，我就几乎不让他骑在就是有一般马路上，就是有专用道的才会让他骑。
Cycling lanes here are scattered and not always respected. Cyclists say they are mostly left to contend with other traffic on the road. Traffic safety advocates also point to the city's many unusually shaped intersections. They have some concrete advice for officials.
透过这个车道瘦身的机会，来顺便修饰路型，让路口变得相对较正交，对交通安全应该是有改善的效果。
The city says it's taking note of the traffic safety problem.
将配合市府各相关单位进行道路整体环境改善与检讨时并同研议。
But without clear measures, cyclists in Taichung will continue to face dangers on the road. Delphine Chen and John Van Trieste for Taiwan Plus.
North Korea's long-serving propaganda leader has died at the age of 94. Kim Ki-nam set the core principles under all three of North Korea's dynastic leaders and led the country's propaganda department for over 60 years. State media reports that leader Kim Jong-un paid his respects at a Pyongyang funeral home. TikTok's parent company is suing the US government over a law that could see the social media app banned there. China-based tech company ByteDance says the law, which requires it to sell the app to a non-Chinese buyer or face a ban, is unconstitutional and violates free speech. It points to a lack of public evidence supporting US concerns that the app may pose a security threat and says that divestment would be unfeasible. The law, signed by President Biden in April, is meant to address national security concerns over Chinese access to US data. Chinese President Xi Jinping has arrived in Serbia in the second stop of his first trip to Europe in 5 years. Xi was welcomed at the airport by Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić and his wife. The two leaders are expected to have a meeting in the capital Belgrade on Wednesday. Xi's visit coincides with the 25th anniversary of NATO's bombing of China's embassy there. The incident on May 7, 1999, killed 3 Chinese journalists and triggered outrage from China and an apology from then US President Bill Clinton. China has invested billions of dollars in Serbia for infrastructure and other projects. It's considered China's most important partner in the Balkans. To find out more about the significance of Xi Jinping's visit there, reporter Laurel Stewart spoke to geopolitical analyst Zsuzsa Anna Ferenczi.
Xi Jinping is visiting Serbia and Hungary. He's just visited France. Why also these 2 countries?
Well, this is an important question because Serbia is not an EU member state, but Serbia has been part of the 16, which then became 17+1 cooperation framework between Central Eastern European countries plus Western Balkan countries and China. It's been a decade since this cooperation framework is out there, but it hasn't been very effective when it comes to what China promised. Serbia is still obviously a very big supporter of Chinese investment in its own country, in the region. And perhaps this is also telling of why China wants to go personally to Serbia and to again send a message that this is a good example to show that China remains influential in the region. But when we look at what's happening inside Serbia, we see that there is a lot of opposition also to projects that come without consultation locally, that come to really interfere in how the infrastructure landscape of a country is being reshaped by this influence with Chinese labor.
So you just mentioned opposition within Serbia about Chinese investment in their country. What kind of outcome are we expecting from this visit?
Serbia is in need of infrastructure investment, and we know that there's already a lot of that going on in mining, gold mines, and also railway and highways being built. So obviously this contributes to the daily lives of the people. So I do understand that there is a legitimate need for infrastructure. It's how that infrastructure investment is being done and what's the price to pay long term. I think that's what is of concern. So I think Xi Jinping is going forward with keeping Serbia close because that allows it to be influential in the region. Again, this is a key region for the Belt and Road Initiative, for the Silk Road. Obviously, all countries are in need of more investment. It's just what kind of investment these countries receive is the question. And when it comes to China, we've had plenty of experience by now to understand that these investments come with a price for our security, for our over-reliance.
That was Zsuzsa Anna Ferenczi speaking to our reporter Laurel Stewart. A train line connecting Chiayi City in southern Taiwan with the scenic mountain area of Alishan is expected to reopen later this year. As Leslie Liao reports, this beloved and historic rail line is being revived 15 years after a typhoon knocked it out of service.
Waking up at 3:30 a.m. may not sound appealing to most people, but if you're in Chiayi in southern Taiwan soon, there's something that makes the early wake-up worth it. Chiayi neighbors the Alishan National Scenic Area, a mountain resort area known for its forests and gorgeous scenery. It's home to the Alishan Forest Railway, a train line that snakes through steep slopes and can take visitors from the city straight to one of the best sunrise viewing spots high up in the mountains.
开到半山上的时候，那个雾哈，看起来就有点像那个云那样。
When you start and it's dark and all the people sitting, waiting, and then you come here and it's getting clear, it's nice. I like the train ride a lot.
The historic rail line is steeped in history. It was used for logging in the 1900s, but has since become a tourist attraction.
I think it's beautiful and it's really nice, really pleasant.
But in 2009, Taiwan's deadliest typhoon on record, Typhoon Morakot, damaged part of the railway. Morakot devastated the rail line, warping tracks, distorting terrain, and flooding stations. The damage cut off Sizilu Station, halfway up the mountain from the Alishan Station.
我们进来的时候，路线都是中断的，根本连台车那都不能进去。
Later typhoons disrupted repair efforts, causing even more damage to the railway. These days, visitors who want to get all the way to the top of Alishan need to take the train to Shizilu Station, then transfer via shuttle bus. Though it still gets people to their destination, it's not as convenient as taking a single ride.
到这边已经要3个小时，接驳车听说好像要等1个小时。
But now there's good news. The Alishan Forest Railway is slated to make a full return to service in July, 15 years after it was cut off.
希望在7月就能够正式的全线通车。
Part of the reason why repairs have taken so long is because fixing train tracks 2 kilometers above sea level is complicated. Everything from materials to equipment had to be carried up the mountain manually.
就是都要扛着机具，然后走山路，然后山路那时候有一些都是一个人走，要一边靠着墙壁这样，不然就是这边就是悬崖。
Though it took a decade and a half, the Alishan Forest Railway's grand reopening is on the horizon. Soon, it will be all aboard for everyone looking for a ride to one of the best sunrise spots in Taiwan. Devin Tai and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Taiwan Plus News. You can visit the Taiwan Plus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at this fireworks display in Marseille in southern France to welcome the arrival of the Olympic flame. I'm Inkavat. Take care. See you next time.